Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Dior, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 15. This will be our first match in Silver 1. We started borderline Silver 1, which means if we had lost a match, there's a chance we would have deranked, which would have set us back a little bit. But in any case, our opponent here, last week we ran into someone that was a full time box. This is a full princess box. Always kudos to anyone that goes with a theme rather than just picking all the meta characters. So honestly, seeing this box is really kind of interesting because you can kind of see the attempt to try to make a princess box work. The biggest issue with doing a full princess box is it's pretty easy to deal with the faction buffs usually. So that's something to consider. In any case, my opponent here has 3 tanks. 3 primary tanks. Grinchill can be a physical tank if necessary, and that is it. And then there's 1, 2, 3. Only 3. Is it only 3 healers? Yeah, it is. Only 3 primary healers. Mariandel can of course do passive healing, and yeah, I think that's everything. Technically, Girl in the Shell here can also do healing, but it's not reliable. It's from her little roulette skills. Besides that, it's just a princess box. So the good news is it is definitely a mixed box, which is something I'm a lot stronger against. Also, there's a lot of characters that don't particularly have the highest mobility, so this is definitely to my advantage. My opponent did go ahead and first ban my the Awakened, and I'm going to ban their Rosenseal first. There were a lot of picks to choose from. Obviously, some of the threats here are certain characters that can either double tap for a lot of physical damage, like Claret here, Kagura here can stun and actually be a pretty good tank buster by herself. Grinchill, of course, can bypass guard and also hit pretty hard as well. We do have some physical AoE in the form of Karika. And then the rest of it is just a lot of magic damage and a lot of potential magic spamming with AoEs from a variety of characters. And then we have Act Agains and then Rewinds on top of that. So that was a lot of stuff I had to consider. Christiane will, of course, help deal with a lot of the magic damage. Not all of it, but at least give me a nice little buffer. Alright, so they banned my Rosenseal, get rid of my Kayura. They opened with taking Leona. They had to take a healer if they wanted a primary one, since I banned one of theirs, and they only had 3. So at this point, I get rid of Karika. I didn't want to deal with the range sniping. Also got rid of their Kagura, because I didn't want to deal with that nonsense. She has a lot of range, and she can hit really hard physically. And without Rosenseal, she can also stun, and there's not much I can do about that. Karika, obviously, I can see a lot of casters here, so doing the range sniping with Karika definitely felt like it had potential. They go ahead and get rid of my Grinchill, get rid of my Sword and Light and Shadow, which I was completely fine with. I wasn't even considering them. Mariandel, so nice AoE, combination of AoE and passive healing. So at this point I go ahead and ban their Claret. Claret can be kind of dangerous when she can double tap, and I don't really have any out-of-turn healing to help mitigate that. I'm not sure how well she tanks us, because I've only encountered her once. I encountered her once just last week, but beyond that, I have yet to encounter her that much. So I went ahead and grabbed Silvaria. I went ahead and just went double snipers here, and I'm going to see, since a lot of their characters are very slow-moving, I can hopefully take advantage of that. They banned my Leona to try to get rid of my Act Again. Also banned my Sherry, and they went ahead and went with Sophia here. So yeah, a lot of heavy healing already. At this point, I was like, okay, I kind of expected my opponent to at least pick a faction buffer at this point. Sophia can do pseudo buffing, but with her exclusive and passive, but it only lasts for 2 rounds. But it is an option. So at this point, I was like, all right, well, out of all the faction buffer, I didn't really want to ban. I wasn't that concerned about Christiane, since I'm mostly physical now. But I also didn't want to. I didn't want to give them. If I wanted to leave them with a faction buffer to see if they would pick it. That way I can focus on other things. So I banned Sofaniel, so they only have one faction buffer left for Princess. And then I went ahead and got rid of Grand Shield for obvious reasons, since she is very annoying and can bypass guard. Also, she's relatively bulky, and I didn't really want to risk failing a snipe on her. I went ahead and grabbed Sissy 8, so I have an act again. She can also be buffed by Princess. I lose my remaining 2 assassins. Picks Girl in the Shell. So yeah, at this point I was like, alright, fine, you're not going to get a Princess faction buff then. I'm assuming my opponent just wanted to stick with Sophia. Actually, Sophia is kind of good in this, because Sophia's defensive buff is actually 30% and not 20% that the faction buffs are. So it actually probably is a good call, since all my damage here is physical. I'm left with Lightbringer and Florentia, and since I already have Sissy White and Florentia both have access to mass attack, I go ahead and grab Florentia so she can handle the mass attack and also potential AoE damage, and then, you know, just kind of be an extra act again if I need it. I left my opponent with the tanks because I was completely okay with them having it. Sonya has no faction buff, and Freya here, I almost forgot her name. Freya here only buffs herself and Sophia, because those are the only characters that are Origins factions. So Florentia, and my opponent's going to go ahead and grab Freya, or SP Freya. So I almost made a mistake while I was setting up my team here. I hit ready before I actually swapped in Angels. Obviously, Angels is a good call since all this is going to be magic damage. The only physical attacker here is Freya, which I don't really care about. Girl in the Shell did bring Deck Gunners, which is probably a good call. Probably expected me to take Angels. All of her stuff is she has her 3C, her Roulette skill, and then she has Dark Reaper. So she actually went single target, which I was a little surprised with, which was a good call since I didn't really bring any AoE heals. Mariandel, on the other hand, did bring AoEs and Windblade, which actually does have some advantage against Angels. Fairy Spirit Prophets also can be helpful. We got Sophia here, who is Holy class with Shrine Maiden, so double Holies, so immune to Twilight Star. Went with 3C, Heal, and Rewind. Leon here, also Holy class with Shrine Maidens, so also immune to Twilight Star. Has Act Again, Heal, and Prayer. And then Freya here brought Guardian Infantry. I don't know why. Well, I guess this does increase defense, so I guess it's a pretty good. It's her physical tanky pick, though. I'm pretty sure. I guess she picked this because obviously Christian is infantry, so phalanxes are not as effective. But I'm not really sure. In any case, 3C, Rose Slash, and Crystal Spike, so pretty much all of her fixed damage, and then Rose Slash can provide some additional AoE damage. Nothing too significant. Florentia here, I did, as I mentioned before, I brought her Mass Attack, brought her 3C, and then Winning Strategy. So only way she's going to be able to build up strategies is with her 3C and Winning Strategy. She does have her, what do you call it? She does have her Inscription talent, but it honestly doesn't really help when she doesn't have a faction buff, so all it really does is just provides a stat increase. Karika here, standard kits, Fairy Spirit Prophets, which is actually, I didn't even think about, but can be helpful against Shrine Maidens since they don't actually stop magic damage. Christian here, Angels, standard kits, all tanking, faction buff. Silvaria here, I did bring Disarm, and then Deck Gunners, and then of course her 3C and Sneak. And then Sissy White, since I had the coverage for the Mass Attack, and I was planning on sniping any potential AoEers before they reached me, I went ahead and opted to bring Bounty just to get a little extra damage. Bounty cannot be removed once applied, so it is just a good thing to start getting that extra boost on your various targets. Alright, so I opened immediately with Bounty, and I put it on Girl in the Shell, because she's kind of the most dangerous. She has the kind of the most extended range out of everyone. Some things I didn't expect is her talent, or not her talent, but her machine learning proc for her 3C here, where she can start building up stuff on it. It actually procs Mariandel's talent, which is kind of interesting. So, cool stuff there. In any case, bounty on her, so she takes an additional 10% damage. Can't be dispelled. Will remain forever at infinite range. Good stuff. So right off the bat, I just push in. So in this position here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right now, everyone except for Freya is in hero snipe range, and Girl in the Shell here has already acted. So my plan here was, okay, my opponent's either going to take the hit, or she's going to act again, Girl in the Shell, so she can move. And I'm completely okay with that because I have 10 range on my attack, thanks to the bow, and I can target Mariandel instead, and just take her out instead. So that was the plan here. And sure enough, my opponent does act again. She does have the exclusive, so she did also buff her. So at this point I was like, alright, mass attack, and then go straight into act again. So this will be her one act again for now, which I was okay with. So yeah, she moves away. She's one range out from sniping range, but I'm completely okay with that. Oh, I actually forgot to turn this on. So we'll deal with that in a second. Now, something I did not expect was the reflect that was active on that, but we'll take care of that in a second. So yeah, sorry about that. Also, I should have slowed down the time here. Alright. So yeah, she's at full health, but that's fine. She doesn't have Shrine Maidens. So I need to do like 14,500, and I do a little over 20,000, so I was good to go, and the Reflect had no chance of killing me. So there you go, one of their DPS is dead. All they have left is Girl in the Shell, but they do have a lot of annoying heals. But the nice thing here, of course, is every time my opponent moves up into range at full HP, they're going to take a hit from the talent here. One thing I kind of wish I had did with Florentia is I should have moved here. That way Kree can teleport here and have a little bit more range. And also potentially buff Sylvaria, but that's fine. So right off the bat, my opponent opens with Radiant Glow. Alright, so at this point, my opponent is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So everyone except for Girl in the Shell. Well, essentially the two healers are both in sniping range. The catch, of course, is they both have Shrine Maiden, so there's a chance I can't actually kill her. And I'm pretty sure she is immune to fixed damage. Since I was in no rush to actually need a faction buff yet, I went ahead and opted to go ahead and just start getting rid of my Efflusion stacks instead of faction buffing, because I didn't really need it immediately. And at this point, if I take a step back, I'll be within snipe range of Girl in the Shell. So I go ahead and shift down, go ahead and get faction buff up. So I ended up going a little slow here. And my opponent did rewind. I think I should have just been a bit more aggressive. I could have just went ahead and set up snipe again. Yeah, what I probably should have done is I should have just set up snipe and then immediately go for kill for Girl in the Shell. This ended up making things a lot more difficult for me. Because yeah, I could have easily just moved back, done 3C, which would have given her attack buff again, and then just kill. Because the time it would have taken, she would have had to do rewind first and then act again to actually get anything done. So that was my mistake there. I'm just checking the options. Yeah, I would have been instead of moved Christiana, I did this instead. And then I act again, and then she would act again. So yeah, I would have been able to snipe before she could actually get her out of the way. So that was my bad. I was a little concerned about the Shrine Maidens, because I'm pretty sure they do soak AoE damage. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get kills, especially with the forest terrain. Also, I wasn't really concerned about Sophia now that she's already used Rewind. So for right now, I'll go ahead and set up here for sniping. So my opponent does shift down, stays just out of range. So at this point I was like, alright, well, I'm not going to act again now because my opponent's just going to move. And so instead I just took my time. And then I go ahead and test my theory about Shrine Maidens and AoEs. And sure enough, I can't kill. But I do still do a mobility down that will delay her for a bit. So she's kind of stuck. As mentioned before, let's see. Yeah, 10 is this far away, and Leonna's just out of range, unfortunately. I was tempted to try doing my Shiguri first, and I think I should have, but I wasn't that worried about it. So yeah, at this point I was like, alright, let's see if I can at least get kill. So I pull this out. So I have plus 30% attack. I have my Shiguri left, and she has 5470 HP. Let's see if I can actually do enough. And I end up actually coming a little short. Yeah, well actually, yeah, it didn't get very far, unfortunately. So it's a little unfortunate. After taking action, I have no... Yeah, she'll take fixed damage, but I believe she's immune. So unfortunately now, Karika is kind of out of commission for now. She goes ahead and does a prayer. Go ahead and heal up. But she is still mobility down. I went ahead and teleported back. This gave it a damage buff to Silvaria. Alright, nothing big there. So go ahead and reapply the reduce AoE damage, because that's what Rose Slash is. And for right now, I was like, alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and start putting out more bounties. And just wait for now. So I'm not sure why my opponent did this. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 range, which means I would do... Not only would I do slightly less damage with my Valkyria Flash, but I would not target the hero directly. But since she moved up, because the only thing that guard bypasses that Silvaria has is Valkyria's Flash, that bypasses guard. Disarm does not. And so that's why I was kind of waiting and seeing, because I can't get past Freya's guard with Disarm. And I was actually going to go ahead and try shooting Freya with Disarm just to see how much damage it did if that option came. But since Sophia moved up, she is in Forest Terrain, she does have Shrine Maidens, which means at 100% HP I probably couldn't get kill anyway. And she of course has the plus 30% defense buff from her talent. But I can at least guarantee that she's not at 100% life since everyone's acted already. And do this. I go ahead and do battle support here, which actually I think might actually help. Let's see. Yeah, battle support actually increases soldier damage, or soldier attack rather. So we can use that to take advantage of Sophia here. So Sophia currently has a little less than 20,000 HP between her and the troops. I do plenty more than that, so I'll go ahead and take care of her, so now I don't have to deal with the rewind. One thing I did do here was a trade. Yeah, no faction buff. Even at full HP, I just couldn't tank it. But I'm completely okay with this. So for right now, I was like, alright, I'm going to go ahead and shift down and start Valkyria power again. So the reason why I did this, moving down here, if you recall what I mentioned before, she has mobility down. This position here, her options are either get herself killed or move to any of these two squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this column here literally will definitely guarantee, well, it won't guarantee a kill because she can just heal herself, but it definitely puts her within direct hero range. And then in this range here is just 8 spaces away. So in any case, it puts pressure on her. So, but I do have an opportunity here. I wasn't sure if this was going to work, so I went and did bounty, threw that onto Leona to do some extra damage, and then I threw out a cavalry. and I took advantage of the terrain here. I took a lot of extra damage, fixed damage here that I couldn't really stop. And then did smash and knocked my opponent away. And then I got finished off with the fixed damage there. And at this point I was like, alright, well, I should be able to do enough kill, and sure enough I did, with just a normal attack. So my opponent has no DPS left, and at this point my opponent does not have anything. Yeah, no answers. So yeah, pretty neat fight. Like I said, I definitely made a mistake early on. I could have ended that fight a lot sooner, but because the moment my opponent loses, lost both mages, that would have been it. Honestly, the chances were pretty high that even with Girl in the Shell, she just wouldn't have the DPS to actually kill anything. It would have been just at that point, my opponent was racing to the middle to try to hold it, and hoping that I wouldn't be able to get kill. But the moment they clumped together, I would have started possibly just doing AoEs, and I also had more act against them than my opponent at that point. So there was a lot of options to play around with, and also with certain timings. Because not only did I knock away Freya, I also disabled her guard with the debuff from Smash. So even then, like even if she did get back into range, I think it lasts 2 rounds. So I would have just been able to kill at my leisure. So I had just outranged my opponent at that point and had better turn priority. So yeah, worked out. Was really happy with that box, how that played out. I did make a change to the box. It's not any character changes, but Pierotes, I originally had the Monkey King vest on her, which is the armor that gives you plus attack whenever you get attacked, which is great for whenever you want to do like counterattacks with like Extreme Magic Bow and stuff like that. But since I'm no longer using Extreme Magic Bow on her, there's no point in me having it, so I'm actually using Azure's Legend, which gives extra HP. Which, I mean, after that fight I had with SP Leon, I'm trying to make her a little bulkier to try to hopefully take a bit more damage. Granted, it's probably not going to be successful, but it's something to do. Besides that, I don't think there's much else to report. I should be on my way to getting 5 stars into Talia. 21, so yeah, exactly a week from Sunday. So yeah, next Sunday she'll have enough, which will be helpful because her being 5 stars will make her stronger. I haven't even used her in combat yet, but at least having another assassin at better stats will be nice. Besides that, not much else to report, so I'll go ahead and call it here. I'm the Depressed Dior. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 15. I'll see you guys later.